We tend to think starting a business is all about knowing things. I got to know how to do this. I got to know how to do that. I got to know this. I got to know that. I got to learn this. I got to learn that. And yes, that's true. There's all kinds of things you have to learn, all kinds of things you have to know. I'm going to be really blunt and tell you that most aspiring entrepreneurs don't really know what they need. So they go after what they think they need. How to Quit Working is different in that we give you what we know you need, not necessarily what you want. And
this is the How to Quit Working Show. Jeff Steinman believes entrepreneurship is the only true path to freedom. That's why he created the How to Quit Working Show, where you'll hear stories, insights, and inspiration from lifestyle fanatics who left their soul-sucking 9-to-5 job forever. Now, here's your host, author, entrepreneur, and ultimate lifestyle fanatic, Jeff Steinman.
Hello and welcome to the How to Quit Working Show. Today we're going to talk to Felina Hansen, who is doing some amazing things to help support aspiring entrepreneurs to start businesses. She's very passionate about that, and she's going to share a lot of great stuff with us on the show today. But before we jump into that, I wanted to make sure that folks really understand what the Shift program is about, because we launched that a couple weeks ago, and I've been getting a lot of questions. I field all of the questions that I get. If you have questions, by the way, shoot them to me at jeff@howtoquitworking.com, and I will get right back with you. But again, I wanted to just sort of touch on a couple of things, a couple of clarifications and things that folks had asked me about, and just make sure that everybody really understands what this is all about, because it's really an amazing program. And Heather and I put this together thinking, gosh, what would we really have wanted right now that we are past the point of having quit our jobs and now having successful businesses? What would we have wanted? What really would have helped us? And again, what we would have wanted at the time and what we're able to now look back and say we really needed are two different things, right? So one of the things that I think we do a lot is we tend to think starting a business is all about knowing things. I got to know how to do this. I got to know how to do that. I got to know this. I got to know that. I got to learn this. I got to learn that. And yes, that's true. There's all kinds of things you have to learn, all kinds of things you have to know. But here's the thing. Most of those things aren't complicated. In terms of the mechanics and what you have to know to run a business, it's third grade level stuff, right? None of that stuff is so big and crazy and complicated that a third grader couldn't learn it easily. And if it were up to me, we would teach that to all third graders. In fact, we'd start teaching it as soon as children were old enough to begin to comprehend the ideas. We'd be teaching them. But so again, I want to draw the distinction between what you really need and what you might think you need, because I'm going to be really blunt and tell you that most aspiring entrepreneurs don't really know what they need. So they go after what they think they need. And let me also tell you how to Quit Working is different. How to Quit Working is different in that we give you what we know you need, not necessarily what you want. And that costs us sales, right? That costs us business, because what we want to do is we want to actually make you successful, not just make money. That's not what this is about. Again, there's nothing wrong with making money, and that is a very important part of what How to Quit Working is all about. But we want to do that in a way that actually gets you results. So what many of the other people who have podcasts or people who sell products like this and have programs, what they will do is they will give you that thing that you think you need. And normally that is knowledge, right? I need to learn how to do Facebook marketing, or I need to learn how to podcast, or I need to learn how to do sales better. Again, all great stuff, but we're not going to sell you something that we don't think is really going to get you results and really move the needle for you. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the handful of things that we're delivering to you in the Shift program that we really believe will make the difference and really will move the needle for you. And the first of those things are a strong community, right? You have to have a group of people around you who think the same way, who want the same things. I mean, this is just brain dead simple, right? You don't let your kids hang around with the F students because you know if they hang around the F students, they're going to start getting Fs, right? You want them to hang around with the A students. And it's just simple when you think about, like, when you go out, let's say you go out to dinner and you talk to your friend about golfing. Maybe you both like to golf. You talk about golfing. When you leave that meal with that friend, you're going to be thinking about golfing, right? And if you go out with another friend who likes to complain about politics and complain about the state of the world, well, you might do that with that friend for an hour and you leave thinking about the terrible state that the world is in and thinking about all the issues in the political arena. If you go and hang out with a friend who is a successful entrepreneur or a friend who is an aspiring entrepreneur like yourself, what do you think you're going to be thinking about when you leave? You're going to be thinking about those things that you talked about, and that's just one of the practical reasons why you have to have a community, right? You have to have yourself in that mind state, in that place of thinking like a successful person, thinking like an entrepreneur, thinking like somebody who really wants the same things out of life that you want. And that's why the community aspect of it is so important, right? You can drop into the community at any time and be surrounded with and interact with people who want the same things out of life, and also get the benefit of my experience and Heather's experience as well. And, you know, I think we've talked about it on the show a lot, but Heather is somebody who has created multiple successful businesses over the past 15 years, just selling one recently. And really, she's somebody who's been able to find a lot of success in different industries, doing different things. So the perspective that she brings, as well as the perspective that I bring into that group, it's hugely valuable. And something that many people don't have when they're starting a business, and that's why we wanted to bring that. We wanted to bring that to you through that community that is the LinkedIn group, as well as the next thing on the list, which is so extremely important, is accountability. Right? When you go and you walk into your job every day, if you don't feel like going in, you go in anyway, and you go in and you do your work, because if you don't, you're going to be held accountable. That's what your boss is for. And when you're starting your business, you need that. So what we're doing is we're setting up a system for accountability. So you'll be able to enter your goals, and when you want to get things done, for example, if in your business you want to get your website up by the end of the month, we've got a little place where you can enter that in, and then we'll follow up with you when that time comes through the community, as well as through our monthly meetings. Now, and I'll talk a little bit about those in a second, but there's also the regular inspiration. So every month, we're going to send you a new inspirational training video that's going to keep you going. It's going to keep you focused on quitting your job and starting a business, rather than letting your focus be stolen away by, you know, the new season of whatever the popular TV show is, or maybe that friend who invites you out for a drink or whatever it is. We're going to keep you focused on what you're trying to accomplish with that regular inspiration, and that's really going to be huge. We're also doing some in-depth training. Right? There's a few very simple concepts that once you understand them, it really makes your success inevitable. So each month is centered around a book. We have chosen a handful of the core business books that all successful people read, and really it's not rocket science, and it's not a mystery as to why successful people tend to read the same books and the same types of books. There's a lot of them out there, but we've picked some of the core ones, and we're going to focus every month on that book, and we're going to send you that book in the mail, and we're going to have discussions in the group around the book, as well as we're going to focus and have some in-depth training on our monthly Google Hangouts. And that's the last piece, which is where we get on a Google Hangout every month, and we're going to do some in-depth training. We're going to have time for questions. We're going to have time for you to discuss your accountability items. We're going to have time for you to come in and just talk about whatever's on your mind and see how you can get support and help from the community on your mission to quit your job and start a business. I mean, really, it's kind of like we're really trying to create this ecosystem of support for aspiring entrepreneurs. We want to create something that lets you just really be surrounded in a virtual way with people who want the same things and people who are there to support you. And one of the things that, I can't make any promises about this because I can't control it, but, what I think is going to happen is folks in the group are going to start to develop relationships with each other. And you're going to have these people who who are also they're sharing the same journey, and you're going to become friends with them. And I think you're probably going to find people that you might even be interested in doing business with, whether that's cross-promotional stuff or maybe partnerships or what have you. But just being in that, in the company of other people who are out to get the same thing out of life that you are is going to be so extremely, extremely valuable. I like to think about it like if you played a sport or maybe you went through college, anything that you kind of do with a group of people, there's always those people in that group that you become friends with and that become an integral part of your life as you go forward. And I really hope that we can create some of those strong, powerful relationships here in Shift. Now, if you're wondering what the cost of Shift is, it is $297 per quarter. So that comes out to be like $100 a month to have access to this amazing community. So, like the financial piece of it shouldn't be an issue, right? Because anybody with a who kind of halfway has their finances together can find an extra $100 a month. And I can tell you, like I think I said on the show a couple weeks ago, if you want to figure out a way to find that money, cancel your cable bill and kill two birds with one stone. Or, think about maybe eating out less each month, or think about what kinds of things you could cut out to make this make sense. Because, we know that the coaching that we offer here at How to Quit Working It is not it's not crazy expensive, but it's not cheap either, right? It's a significant investment, and we wanted to be able to offer an alternative for folks who maybe that's not appropriate for them. So that's what Shift is all about. If you have questions, shoot me an email, jeff@howtoquitworking.com. Many of you know I actually respond to every single one. We don't play this, these ridiculous games of, we're so big and famous that we can't respond to your emails. If you've spoken with Heather or you'd rather speak with Heather about it, heather@howtoquitworking.com. She would also love to hear from you. So, or better yet, if you're ready to go, just go over to howtoquitworking.com/shift and jump into the program and be part of this amazing group and this amazing ecosystem for entrepreneurship that we're creating. Without any further ado, though, let's go ahead and jump into our interview for today with Felina Hansen. Felina, welcome to the How to Quit Working show.
Thanks for having me, Jeff.
Glad to have you here. Now, you've got a really interesting kind of a business. Tell us about what the heck is Hera Hub?
Sure. It is a shared work and meeting space targeted towards female entrepreneurs specifically. I have 3 locations in San Diego, Southern California, and now am expanding nationally. And what makes us different is it's a spa-inspired co-working space.
Wow.
So, yeah, our members say they've never been so zen and productive at the same time.
Wow.
Yes, so we have over 300 members in San Diego. That's what we call folks that utilize our space. And it is truly a community-based model where female entrepreneurs are supporting one another through the launch and growth of their business.
So I want to talk a little bit about environment and the importance of environment, but why do female entrepreneurs need their own separate space?
Yep, it's a great question, and I get asked that a lot. So number one, I just want to clarify we're not exclusive to women. We are female-focused.
Okay.
We do have a male member. You could either call him brave or smart, one of the two. Because again, we have over 300 female entrepreneurs in the community as well.
So single male entrepreneurs in the area, if you want a co-working space, this is where to go.
Yeah, it comes down to 2 things. Number one is that focus on community, and I've built a place and a platform that is a supportive, collaborative, sometimes we call it safe space to bring ideas to market, to ask tough questions. Business is challenging, and finding that space that is really, truly safe and supportive to be able to ask those questions and find those resources. And women tend to open up more and ask a different set of questions and dialogue a little differently when it is other women primarily. And most of the co-working spaces, they're awesome, awesome spaces. There's actually about 3,000 spaces in the U.S. now. It's
Wow.
growing it's definitely a market segment that's growing very quickly because of a need. Some say that up to 60% of the knowledge-based workforce will be independent by 2020, which is right around the corner.
I hope it's a lot more than that.
I know, me too. Me too. Indeed. So it kind of begs the question of where will all these people work? Obviously, we know Starbucks isn't the solution, and the dining room table isn't always the solution either. So that's why co-working spaces have become so popular, because they're not only space, but there's a huge focus on community. And for us, it really is providing that supportive space for our members and to have those dialogues in a different sort of arena. And then also it's really about the environment. It really is beautiful space. There's running water and candles and soft music and nice lighting. And so what I say is if a gentleman enjoys all of that and a safe, supportive setting, he's more than welcome to join us.
Cool. Why is it important to, I mean, isn't flowing water and candles and soft music, isn't that for like a romantic evening or relaxing at home? How does that help us in a business situation?
Yeah. So again, business is challenging, and providing an atmosphere that is, again, and this is a quote from one of my members, both zen and productive is important. And specifically, and I'm sure, again, there will be men that enjoy that environment as well, but women in particular enjoy having a space that is calming, is relaxing, is, but at the same time very productive. People aren't falling asleep. But, beauty is important. I mean, in regards to surrounding yourself with an environment that's not fluorescent lighting and crappy art, it's more about, having beautiful art. We support the arts. We have local artists who, hang their art in our spaces. We have fresh flowers and plants and, all the things that create, frankly, a productive environment. And I've looked at tons of studies on productivity, and sitting under fluorescent lights is not the key.
Yeah. Ooh. It kind of makes me cringe to think about it.
Exactly.
Well, what would you tell somebody, Felina, if they maybe aren't using a co-working space, but they just want to make their own space a little bit more productive to their work, besides turning off the fluorescent lights or replacing those with something a little nicer?
Absolutely. Yeah. So indirect lighting is definitely a big part of it. Natural light is a big part of it. Color is also very, very important to productivity. So we use blues and browns primarily, so very natural, calming colors. And we place color in certain places based on what we're hoping people will accomplish. So more of a calming environment versus more of a collaborative environment. We'll use different colors. So they're simple fixes. They're not expensive. We also apply feng shui, which is an ancient art of really thinking about space intentionally and what's going to be done in which area and what the meaning behind that is. And so there's some simple remedies that can be done to create more of a productive, beautiful space.
Cool. So, any books you'd recommend on how to create a great workspace at home, or have you perhaps written one?
Well, I'm franchising, so instead of writing a book, I took my business model and really packaged it. I mean, for me, I've had the business 3 years, and learned so much. No one really has written the manual on co-working spaces. There have been some books out, but we do things quite differently than most spaces. Many spaces are actually targeted towards an entirely different market, a more younger, hip, techie market. So some of those 3,000 co-working spaces I spoke of earlier, a lot of them are very tech focused, which is awesome. They're great spaces. They provide a great platform and a sense of community for their members. But as a woman who perhaps is a 40-year-old attorney coming out of corporate to start her own private practice, she may not feel as comfortable in an environment with ping pong tables and beer kegs and guys with skinny jeans and headphones on, running around with dogs and, Led Zeppelin playing in the background. So those are cool spaces. They're really important spaces. We just provide a slightly different environment. And my role and my job is to teach other women to do the same thing in their city and start a supportive, collaborative platform for women in their community.
So what made you decide to franchise the business?
Yeah, it's a good question. I knew nothing about franchising, frankly. And just to give you a little bit of background,
it's a big, complicated thing.
It is a very big, complicated thing.
I don't have to tell you that.
Yeah, I've learned so much in the last year and a half. It's just incredible. But the quick answer is I had no other choice. It's the business model I had to use to be able to expand in the way we wanted to make sure the brand integrity was there and the experience was there for communities outside of Southern California. But my background is not in franchising. In fact, I became an entrepreneur in 2003, not because I had some big, grandiose, fantastic idea. It was frankly because I got laid off 3 times. By the age of 30, I was in high-tech.
Boot.
I got the golden boot. You got it, yeah. And so it was in high-tech marketing. 2 companies I worked for sold, and one ran out of money. And at age 30, I said, gosh darn it, I need to control my own destiny, and started a marketing strategy, basically consulting practice. So worked with small to mid-sized companies for 8 years and worked out of my home, frankly. I found working at home convenient and cost-effective, but the challenge I found after 8 years was just really having a hard time with focus from time to time, and also that isolation. I like people. I'm pretty social. And so working at home day after day, I found just my own creativity to be inhibited after time. And so that's why 4 years ago, I started seeking out this whole concept of co-working that I found in a space here in San Diego, and just started researching. It took me about a year to get the business off the ground, find the space, build out the space, do everything that needed to be done to get the business launched. But I speak from experience. I was that person that worked at home for 8 years, and for our community, it's more about flexibility. Most of our members don't come in every day. They do work from home part-time, and they come in maybe a day or 2 a week for that productive workspace, that community platform for education and mentoring and finding resources. And obviously, ultimately, the goal is being more prosperous in their business.
I see. So what were some of the challenges that you faced as you went from that employee in the high-tech world to starting your own business?
Yeah, just frankly, knowing who to hire and where to spend money. I mean, I've always been in business. My dad's an entrepreneur. I come from sort of an entrepreneurial bloodline, if you will. So I had some natural instincts there, but it's tough to know how much should somebody spend on launching a website. I mean, there's so much information out there. Do I spend $5,000? Do I spend $200? How do I know what contracts I need right out of the gate? How do I know, what CRM system I should be utilizing? Do I even need a CRM system? Yeah. Again, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Business is hard. Entrepreneurship is difficult. It's become this really almost sexy career path now with the success of Shark Tank and lots of pitch competitions and things of that nature. And it's so rewarding. I couldn't do anything else. I like to say I'm absolutely unemployable at this point. But it's those resources that you need and that guidance and mentoring you need to really launch a business, and just sounding boards, frankly. Some days you have tough days, and it's like, telling that to your cat is not very, helpful. And so to be able to turn to somebody and say, you know what, I'm struggling with this and I don't know what to do. Do you have advice? Have you been down this road before? And for us, multiplying that by 300, of folks in the community that have had some of that experience, it's invaluable.
Sure. Felina, where can we go to get more information about Hera Hub?
Sure, yeah. Our website is herahub.com. I'll spell that out. It's HERAHUB. And Hera is the Greek goddess of women. She was very protectful and watchful over women at every stage of their life. So I thought the name was fitting for the business and for what we do.
Awesome. Felina, thanks so much for coming on the show and sharing your wisdom and a little bit about Hera Hub. And I wish you the best of luck and can't wait to see what awesome things you do with Hera Hub.
Thanks so much, Jeff. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. And that's a wrap. I love what Felina's doing to support entrepreneurship in her area. It's amazing stuff. And speaking of supporting entrepreneurs, that's exactly what we're doing in the Shift program. So go over to howtoquitworking.com/shift and get yourself signed up for that. And I look forward to seeing you inside, and I'll also see you on the next episode of the How to Quit Working Show.
Thanks for joining us on the How to Quit Working Show. Tune in next time when we'll talk to another amazing person just like you who is now living the ultimate life of freedom and doing it on their terms. If you want to learn how to quit working and get these episodes delivered directly to you, visit howtoquitworkingshow.com.